Have one kid and then you think, oh my gosh, I'll never love another kid. And then the second one comes and you can't believe it.
When there is more than enough love to go around, the unconventional becomes the norm. This best describes the story of Amaya and the Hargitay Hermann family. For an unborn whose fate was already decided, a cruel reality awaited her, one where she did not exist. It looked like life was closing in on this unborn child, but fate sprang up unexpectedly. What then is the story of this seemingly unfortunate child whom fate smiled upon with fortunate bliss? Remember the girl Mariska and Peter Hermann adopted 14 years ago? Here's her life story. Love that outlasts trials.
It just kept getting better with him. And, marriage is not always like this.
Somewhere in Hollywood, the home of entertainment and showbiz, a fairy tale love story was blooming, unlike some before it and many after it. This was a love that was going to last, stand the test of time, and beautifully nurture young ones on that path. Mariska Hargitay had been playing the role of the endearing Captain Olivia Benson in the serial hit show Law and Order: Special Victims Unit since the NBC show premiered in 1999. Her character on the show, which evolved from a detective to the commanding officer of the Special Victims Unit, became a symbol of empathy, justice, and strength throughout the show. Thus, Olivia Benson became a character so loved by many. Little did she know that besides the love that her character commanded, a life-altering encounter awaited her on the filming set of the show she was renowned for. Guests come and go, but some leave a lasting impression in both our hearts and our lives. These guests never go away. They only stop being guests. Peter Hermann was one of such guests. He was a guest in Mariska's life after he appeared on the show in 2001, after which both of them began their private show and have since been on it. During the filming of Season 2 of Law and Order, Hermann made a guest appearance as defense attorney Trevor Langan. That was the movie filming that changed his life entirely because he met Mariska. The two had an undeniable chemistry, and they explored a relationship behind the scenes. Sparks flew, and it soon became clear that the duo were meant for each other. On a regular day, the couple went on a date to a church service, and with it came the seal of certainty that founded their home. A church service was underway, and at the same time, love waves and conviction were growing stronger until they reached a peak with the intensity and similitude of a lightning bolt. That was the moment that changed everything, the moment when it dawned on Mariska that she wanted to do forever with Peter Hermann. During an interview with People, she described the experience, talking about how she just started sobbing during the church service. She said, "I just started sobbing. Peter thought I was crying because I was so moved by the service. No, it was because I was just overwhelmed, realizing he was the one." A love story budding beautifully with such commitment and decisiveness was bound to get the attention of many sooner. After they met in 2001, the couple dated for about 3 years, strengthening their bond and setting the tone for the future. In 2004, wedding bells came ringing, and the lovebirds finally tied the knot. Having built a strong relationship before their marriage, the two were so in sync that they shared many common beliefs and notions about family life. With a yearning for a beautiful family of their own, the couple hoped and waited until hospital reports broke the news of an expected surprise. Their first bundle of joy was on its way after about 2 years of trying and waiting. This was a major turning point in the lives of Mariska and Peter. They had gotten a joint ticket into parenthood. Mariska was so elated and overwhelmed with joy. She had yearned deeply to experience the bliss of motherhood, and it appeared like her dream was fast becoming a reality. She could barely contain her excitement on learning that she was pregnant. Soon enough, the couple shared their joy with the world as they announced the news that they were expecting their first child together. Well-wishers and loved ones showered the couple and their unborn child with beautiful wishes and prayers. Mariska was thrilled by the fact that she was finally going to be a mother at the age of 42. She shared this excitement with Self magazine, saying that she didn't think there was anyone who desired pregnancy more strongly than she did. Her words conveyed a strong desire she had buried underneath her work and professional life. Seemingly, she was almost losing hope, so the news of her pregnancy was like a ray of light to her amid her hope and despair. During her interview, she also revealed the extent to which her happiness led her to do funny things in anticipation of her first child. Mariska had said that from the moment she found out about her pregnancy, she began wearing maternity pants, even though her stomach was flat, because she was just so happy. Judging by her excitement, it's safe to assume that she spent quite some time in front of the mirror admiring her belly while observing for the tiniest protrusion. Peter was one of the happiest men in the world. Seeing the woman he loved so dearly being happy was doubled by the fact that he was going to be a father. Everything was going so smoothly, and it appeared as though things couldn't get any better. Then tragedy struck. Mariska's pregnancy took a rough turn, and complications came into play. For Mariska, who had been so expectant and overjoyed by the growing life inside her, this downturn was a devastating blow. Even while pregnant, the endearing actress never withdrew from filming for the show. She managed both in a very delicate balance. However, the stress from filming her hit crime drama began to take a heavier toll on her and the pregnancy. Sometimes she was left feeling completely exhausted after filming. To cope with the usual fatigue, she turned to food, eating significantly more than usual or even necessary. The result of this excessive eating soon came in. It ushered in a diagnosis of gestational diabetes in her final trimester. From then on, the journey toward delivering her first child became more tedious and dangerous. A normal birth was starting to look impossible, and this saddened Mariska because she wanted a natural birth. All through the turbulent times of her pregnancy's complications, her husband Peter stood by her like never before. Amid the crisis, their love grew even stronger, outlasting the trials that were before them. As the due date of Mariska's delivery drew near, the tension and anticipation heightened as well. However, this eagerly expecting mother did not give birth on the date ascertained by the physicians. It wasn't until after a week, precisely on the 28th of June in 2006, that Mariska and Peter welcomed their bundle of joy. Contrary to Mariska's desire for a natural birth, she was delivered of her baby through a cesarean section. The complications surrounding her delivery left a wound that ran deep and wouldn't heal even with time. The physicians disclosed that Mariska would not be able to conceive and deliver another child. The news stung the couple. Nonetheless, they were consoled that they could hold their long-awaited child after many hurdles and turbulence. Their love outlasted trials and had transitioned into a beautiful family of 4. It was a joyous and blissful experience as the new parents embarked on their parenting journey with their first child, a son they had welcomed with great joy. While the joy emanating from the birth of their son remained, the reality that he would be their first and only gradually began to set in. This left an ache in Mariska's heart, particularly because she had also sustained the desire to have a large family. Their love was soon put to another test. What kind of test was it? And how will this love-struck couple rise above this? Uncertainty meets thriving love. While Mariska and her husband had been 4 years into their parenting journey with their first child, the desire for another child intensified. August, their son, had directly asked his parents for a younger sibling, a sister, precisely. This demand from their son, whom they doted on, pierced the couple deeply. Not only did they want to give him a younger sibling, but the couple also desired to have a large family. Mariska opened up about this during an interview with Good Housekeeping as she said, "August wanted siblings, and Peter and I both wanted a big family because we each came from one. Plus, we had so much love to give." The love bond between this endearing couple had created such an ideal environment that any child could be nurtured in. The couple thus decided that it was time to have more children. However, what remained was the means of having them. Getting kids naturally was off the list, owing to the health tragedy that played out with August's birth. However, there was an option they resorted to. They decided to look into adopting to expand their family. The thought of resorting to adoption did not spring up out of the blue. Rather, it developed from an idea Mariska had as a child. The actress had lost her mother during the early years of her life. Thus, she had to grow up with her stepmother and half-siblings. She grew up soundly and was well catered for with all the love and necessities she needed. This impacted Mariska's view of non-biological relationships positively. Her upbringing after the early loss of her birth mother taught her many things, chief among which was that family could be built in all sorts of ways aside from biology. Thus, she told people during an interview that, "I know that families can be built in all sorts of different ways. There isn't just one way to create a family, nor is it just about biology." Fortunately, Peter also supported his wife's view that family and bonds extend beyond blood relations. Thus, the mutual agreement to adopt took center stage for the couple. While this loving couple was in the bliss of mutual agreement to adopt a child, the story was different in many other parts of the city, precisely with a certain expecting mother. It was in 2011 when Mariska and Peter decided to adopt a child, and from that moment, a search began. While many children lay in wait at different orphanages and social service homes, the lucky lot was soon to fall on an unborn child. Given the wealth and influence of this couple, they could easily change the life of any child they decided to take in. So how was this lucky one chosen? Through a miracle of unplanned events, Mariska and Peter learned of a life-threatening situation which appeared to be at the extreme opposite of theirs. A struggling pregnant woman was faced with the choice of an abortion or having her baby. The lady in question was an expecting single mother who was unstable and yet to find her footing in life. She was considering the option of an abortion, not only because she was poor, but also because she didn't think she could get what it would require to raise a child in 9 months. There was also the fact that she didn't exactly have a family to turn to or anyone she could rely on. Torn by the situation she found herself in, this young expecting mother did not have the will or resolve to push beyond her difficulties. Thus, she was taking slow steps down the easier path, the path of having an abortion. In a twist of fate, the African American who was on the verge of terminating the life of a growing child inside her came in contact with Mariska and Peter. After learning about the lady, the couple met her through a lawyer and convinced her to have the baby so they could adopt it. After a meeting with the couple and their lawyer and much contemplation, she agreed to let the couple adopt her child after birth. Seeing the genuine love atmosphere that was about this couple, the birth mother concluded that her child was better off with them than not existing at all. The parental love and yearning of Mariska and Peter led the African American mother to embrace the idea of a white couple taking in her child. After their agreement, time passed swiftly, and the delivery date arrived. Although Mariska was not the one in labor, she was deeply empathic toward the lady, having gone through the same once. Thus, she graced the delivery room and was a strong pillar of support for the birth mom while she went through the toils of labor. While in the delivery room, Mariska even held her hand through the labor, encouraging her to push through the pain and assisting her to bring the little one into the world. When the little one was born, Mariska was the first to cradle her tiny body, having longed for her like her own. Mariska's heart was already swelling from the moment she heard the newborn's first cry. It was a moment filled with raw emotion and a deep connection. For her, it felt like she had been allowed to be a mother again. The maternity doctors and nurses worked efficiently in caring for the birth mother and the newborn. Following the delivery, they remained in the hospital for a few days before being discharged. Given that the birth mom did not have anyone to turn to, the couple stayed back to ensure the well-being of their newborn and the lady who had made their dreams come true. Everything seemed to be going perfectly fine for the first 2 days. The mother was recuperating well, and the little angel had a home prepared and waiting for her. A life of love, stability, and opportunity was closer than ever for this newborn to grow in. But then uncertainty struck. When the recuperating birth mother beheld the face of her little angel, which turned out to be a girl, something stirred within her. A mother's instinct was gnawing at her from inside. She felt a deep, primal bond with her daughter. Suddenly, the reality of parting with her child became one she did not want to embrace. She told Mariska and Peter that she was having second thoughts, and suddenly, everything hung in the balance. Having watched the birth mom go through labor and knowing the pains of childbirth, Mariska could understand her reluctance. However, it did not help her feel any better. She felt at a loss. The situation became tense, and a sense of intense uncertainty arose among the 3 parties involved. Numerous emotional and moral conflicts marked the next few days that followed. While the couple wanted the child so much, they also wanted the mother's decision to give her to be made willingly and not influenced. At the same time, the birth mother developed a desire to raise her child despite the odds. After seeing her little angel, a glimmer of hope lit within her, and she thought that just maybe, she could push to make things work and give her a life. However, she still felt uncertain deep within her, knowing fully well the reality of her current life situation. At some point, she was starting to feel guilty for wanting to selfishly keep her daughter from having the amazing life that was all prepared for her. She felt guilty looking at the couple who had selflessly seen her through the most trying time of her life, yet patiently waiting for her delivery. She considered the fact that while she had her whole life ahead of her, this couple would never have the opportunity to bear their child again. Yet, they were open to taking her in to give her the best life possible. After laying aside the feeling of guilt and her sympathy for the couple, the newly delivered mother still saw that the best she could do for her young self at the time was to let the loving couple who were prepared take in her daughter. Thus, after deep reflection and sleepless nights, this new mother made the most difficult decision a mother could make. She selflessly decided to give her daughter a chance at a better life with the family that had prepared for her and was awaiting her arrival. This decision marked the beginning of a new chapter for the little one. With it came a new identity, limitless love, and opportunities. During an interview with Good Housekeeping, Mariska opened up about Amaya's birth story, and People reports captured her statement. "I basically pulled Amaya out. Peter and I held her, and then the birth mother and I hugged for a long time. That was profound," she said. "That was one of the most meaningful moments I've ever had in my life." From being almost aborted to living in a beautiful 19th century mansion on Cottage Lane in the East Hamptons, her life's fortune took a drastic turn. How did it happen? Summarily, on the one end, love was strong enough to let go. On the other, love was in such abundance that it could take in and nurture. How did the little angel find being raised by parents of a different race? Growing up with love.
And my son was like, "Great, I have a little sister. I'd like a little brother now, Mom. Let's get on it."
Since the intervention of love in the course of her life story, what has become of that little one whose life was decided even before she was born? This baby girl, who was rarely given the chance to live, found herself in the loving embrace of one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. It was once decided before her birth that she would be aborted, a decision which was countered by one that she would be adopted, but became uncertain after her birth. However, fate had its way, and she was adopted. In the blink of an eye, she had loving parents who cherished her dearly, an elder brother who looked out for her, and soon enough, an endearing younger brother she could look out for also followed. 6 months after adopting the endearing baby girl, the couple adopted another child. How did it happen and why so soon? Mariska and Peter knew they wanted to adopt another child even after getting their daughter. However, they did not expect it to happen so soon. After registering their interest to adopt again, the couple continued their parenting journey with August and his younger sister. However, a surprise call came just 6 months after their daughter came into their lives, and within 2 days, another infant was in their home. For a couple so endearing, they intentionally named their children with such love. For their first son, they named him August Miklos Hermann. In the case of their daughter, they named her Maya, a name they were much in love with. However, the couple had a rethink and decided that they would want all their children to have the same first name initials. This led to their daughter being renamed from Maya to Amaya. While the name retained its beauty and core meaning, the latter name was seemingly more feminine. Thus, the little princess who had them all wrapped around her finger was named Amaya Josephine Hermann. Their third child was a charming little boy who was 2 months old at the time of his adoption. They named the third darling in honor of a friend who was dear to them, Andrew. In full, he went by Andrew Nicholas Hermann. From waiting expectantly for one child, this couple went on to have 3 beautiful children, 2 sons and a daughter. Thus, shortly after Amaya's adoption, this power couple found themselves with not 1, but 2 newborn babies. However, this was never a challenge for them, not only because they had more than enough to take care of their kids, but also because Amaya and Andrew had a great relationship. This made it easier to cater to both of them like twins. Their mother, Mariska, told People that Andrew and Amaya's bond was immediate. They'll lie in the crib together, and she'll hold his hand and put her arm around him. She's already so protective of him, she said. For August, her first son, she added that he was like a senior brother in bliss, thinking that he was responsible for his younger sibling's adoption. August thinks this was all his idea, Mariska told Good Housekeeping in 2012 on the topic of welcoming her 2 youngest children. He said, "I want a baby sister." And Amaya came. Then he said, "I want a baby brother." and Andrew came. Princess Amaya became part of a large family, one where she was the only girl and stood between her elder brother and younger brother. By the time she was 5 years old, her mother proudly declared that she was becoming a smart and very funny little girl. She was receiving so much love and attention that her mother, Mariska, even said that Amaya was her best buddy and the coolest kid she had ever met. Amaya's older brother's protectiveness rubbed off on her, and she developed a boldness to even defend her younger brother from bullies at just a tender age. According to an account by their mother, when Amaya was just 8 years old, a bully was bothering her brother Andrew at the playground, but Amaya stepped up and confronted the bully. Even when the bully pushed Amaya, she did not back down. Rather, she held her ground. Mariska expressed how proud she felt just watching her daughter be so brave, stating that she finds her daughter's strength and independence inspiring. Amaya's life now is that of a privileged girl child who shares an amazing relationship with her mother and has a striking bond with her brother and father. Mariska once said, "My daughter is the boss of me." Over the years, the beautiful family of 5 has only stepped out for a few select public occasions. Thus, their public appearance together was rare. One of the reasons for this was that their parents, Mariska and Peter, had made a conscious decision and taken corresponding efforts to keep the trio out of the public eye, prioritizing their privacy. However, Mariska occasionally shared rare sneak peeks of their family life on her Instagram, offering fans a glimpse into their closely knitted family bond. One of the select public appearances the quintet made together was Mariska Hargitay's Hollywood Walk of Fame ceremony in 2017. During her speech, she expressed deep love and thanks to her star triad for gracing the love story of her and Peter and becoming lifelong participants. "Thank you to August, Amaya, and Andrew," she gushed during her speech before adding, "I know that one day, you will grow into an understanding of how brightly the 3 of you shine into me and Daddy's life." This little inclusion in her speech revealed how much of an endearing mother she is to her kids and how much they are loved and cherished. Family time remained a priority in the Hargitay-Hermann household. However, a significant family tradition that stood out was celebrating Halloween together. They often shared photos of their creative costumes and festive moments on social media. This was one of the rare occasions when the family was seen in the public eye, whether in the media or at related events. Mariska had played her character in the Law & Order series only too well, and eventually, her life was played out by a law and order itself, a law that loves abundantly and an order that selflessly puts family and others first. In recent times, Mariska and her daughter, Amaya, were seen attending a Taylor Swift event, marking a rare moment when the family stepped into the spotlight. Their outing for the Los Angeles premiere of Taylor Swift's concert film in October 2023 highlighted their shared love for music and special mother-daughter moments. This further endears them to fans who cherish these glimpses into their private lives. Amaya has enjoyed several starry outings with her mom over the years, and this Taylor Swift event was just one of them. 8 years after the adoption of Amaya and Andrew, the family made an appearance at the 78th annual Cannes Film Festival. The family of 5 looked stunning in matching black outfits, wearing proud and beautiful smiles. They were not only proud of their parents' achievements, but also of the undeniable love and adoration their parents held for them. Understanding the ordeal of Amaya's birth mom, it is safe to say that she was not unwanted. Her mother was just unprepared for her arrival. Amaya Josephine Hermann, born on the 7th of April in 2011 under dire life circumstances, has since then grown into the princess of the Hargitay-Hermann household. She turned 14 years old in April 2025 and stood beautifully between her 2 knights in shiny armor. She has grown into a smart, confident, and independent young girl with such a bright future ahead of her. Due to their parents' protection of the privacy of the Hargitay-Hermann triad, much remains to be discovered about this thriving princess. However, one thing is that the part of Amaya's story we've uncovered is truly inspiring. Mariska Hargitay and Peter Hermann have demonstrated through their own lives that family isn't just about biology, but about love, resilience, and the bonds we create. Their journey to parenthood reflects their commitment to building a family, regardless of the presence or absence of biological ties. The heartwarming story of Amaya Josephine Hermann and her adopted parents revives hope for a better world, where love outlasts differences and difficulties, allowing for growth and nurturing. Who would have thought that Mariska and her husband would ever have a loving and beautiful family of their own, despite the shocking news from the doctor after the birth of their first son? It's fair to say life always has the best unplanned things waiting around the corner, don't you think? What do you think about Amaya's journey from uncertainty to unconditional love? Would you have acted differently if you were Amaya's birth mother? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more. Before you go, watch the other videos on your screen.